Do you know what happens if your computer falls asleep while remote control is active? Or the three different ways to hand off a session from your computer to a device? Most videos only cover setup, but not these important details on how to best use remote control. Let's cover that now. Keep in mind, this is not a guide on how to set up remote control. I've already done a video on that and I'll link it up here. This is a video just going into the details that most videos are missing right now. If you are not familiar with remote control, here's a quick primer. It's the ability to start a session in Claude Code on your desk and then finish on any device, for example, your phone, while you're sitting on the couch. This unlocks the ability for you to no longer have to babysit your laptop at your desk and gives you so much more freedom about where you can work. Before we go into the different ways to hand off a session from your computer to a device, let's talk about the two ways to activate remote control first. There are two methods of activating a remote control. Which method you use to activate remote control has to do with whether you are already in the middle of a session in Cloud Code or if you're starting a new instance. So for method A, if you are starting a fresh session, then you want to use the method of just typing into your terminal Claude remote dash control. And we're going to walk through that together. But first, let's talk about the second method. For method B, this is for when you already have a session or instance open that you're in the middle of working on. Here, it's what's called the handoff because you are literally handing off your work from your computer to whatever device that you want to use remote control on. Now, let's go into VS Code and actually work in the terminal to see these two methods actually in practice. For method A, we are going to assume that we are not in the middle of working in a session. So let's just start with a fresh instance. All you need to do is type in Claude remote dash control, and it's going to activate remote control. It's literally as simple as that. Keep in mind that you need to be logged in on your terminal, and also you need to be on the max subscription plan if you are not already. Now, pretty easy, right? So let's go into method two, which is if you're already in a working Claude Code session. So here, I'm just going to activate Claude. And imagine I am in a working session already. So here we have Claude Code open. And all you need to do is literally hit slash remote control, and remote control will connect and activate. Now, that's pretty straightforward, right? Method A is for whenever you are not working in a session currently and you want to start a fresh instance. And method B, which we're looking at on screen here, is for to how to activate it whenever you already have a session in progress. Now that we covered the two different methods on activating remote control, I mentioned at the beginning of the video, there are three ways to hand off a session from your computer to your device. So let's go through those now. The first way to connect a session to your device from your computer is by pasting in this URL that you see here that gets generated after you activate remote control. Pretty straightforward. The second way is if you notice here, this says click space to show QR code. So if I hit space, then if I open the Anthropic or Claude app, I can scan this QR code in the app and then it'll automatically open this session in this terminal that I'm working in. Pretty easy. The third way, which is my personal preference because it's the easiest in my opinion, is navigate to the Claude app on your phone and hit the code tab. And in the code tab, you will see the active session that you're trying to connect to. The three ways to recap are pasting in this URL that gets generated after you activate remote control. The second way is to scan this QR code with the Claude app. And then the third way is to just navigate to that session directly from the Claude app in the code tab. Now, let's dive into some more interesting details about remote control. For example, what happens if your computer falls asleep? Or is there a way to just automatically turn on remote control for every session I'm in? Well, good thing I've covered that in this video. So let's jump in. I don't know about you guys, but whenever I started using remote control a few days ago when it came out, I was wondering, this is great, but what happens if my computer shuts off or accidentally falls asleep? And the good news is that Anthropic has thought of that and they've implemented a functionality to help you in those situations. Well, what do I mean by that? Well, remote control can survive laptop sleep mode and temporary network drops. The session will reconnect automatically when back online, which is amazing if you think about it, because then you don't lose that connection or progress. The second thing to consider, though, is if your laptop is unreachable for more than 10 minutes, the session will time out and the process will exit. So the process isn't foolproof. For example, if your computer or laptop dies and you don't have time to run back to your office to charge it, then you will exit out of that session and you will no longer be able to use it with the device that you're using for remote control. So please just keep that in mind. My next question, whenever I was playing with remote control, is activating it is cool, but if I'm in the habit of using it a lot, is there a way that I can automatically activate it for every session or instance I'm in? Well, the good news is yes. To be able to do it, you just need to go to your Claude code instance in the terminal and run /config. And there in the settings, you'll see enable remote control for all sessions. And you just have to switch that to true. If we want to run through that together, let's do it. So here I am in my Claude code in the terminal, and I'm just going to hit /config. And if I scroll down, I will see enable remote control for all sessions. And then I'm going to hit space to change and change that from defaults to true. Now your remote control will be enabled for all sessions. Isn't that convenient? Last but not least, people have been asking me, Timothy, remote control is cool, but how is that different than just using Claude code directly in your app on your phone? Well, there's actually a pretty big difference. Remote control runs locally on your machine. So here you have access to your local MCP servers, configured tools, or existing repo. But Claude Code on the web or using it in the app runs on Anthropic's managed cloud infrastructure. And so you don't have access to those same things that you do when you use Claude Code locally on your computer. And that is the fundamental difference. When you think about which one you need to use when, it fundamentally has to do with, do you need access to the things that you normally do locally? If the answer is yes, then that's where remote control comes in clutch. But if you do not need access, then honestly, Claude Code on the web will do you just fine. Now, I know that was a quick and dirty video, but I wanted to cover these details because a lot of the videos that I've been seeing about remote control only cover the setup, but not these hidden details that are really important to understand about getting the best out of this awesome new feature that Claude has released. I'm Timothy. I work in advanced analytics at a Fortune 500 company, and we use AI every day. And I've just been really enjoying making these videos, showing you guys how we're using these tools and how awesome they can be. Thank you so much for watching.